silly, ridiculous, a waste of time. They didn't want that's why they were so successful. That's why they got away with it.
I've made a living in very dangerous.
This is really an integrated blend.
Welcome to Dianne Andrews in Black and White, and I'm your host, Dianne Andrews. Thanks for being with us today. We're out of our normal studio, but we're here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at a very exciting event. It is the Winning in the New Competitive Environment, our leadership forum that we do once a year, and we will be doing more of those, where we bridge the gap between college or between business and between entrepreneurship. We work on all of those to make you a better person, to make you a better employee, and to make you a better business person. You're going to be seeing the people who spoke at our leadership forum from 5 states, from wealth builders to credit managers to corporate executives to domestic violence for women only, and also for women who want to learn about how do I write a book. You're going to learn a lot today because it is how to win in this new competitive environment. Come on back to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. Thank you for coming back to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. This is a continuation of the show we did last week on our leadership forum, which was such a great event. We had the mayor, Sharon Broome, here. What an elegant, elaborate, great mayor we have in the city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we also had State Representative Patricia Smith, who was here with us last year, and we thank her for returning. And also one of my friends, State Representative Denise Marcel, who even talked about her plight to women and to men on domestic violence, on how we can stop this cycle of violence in our communities. But now we're going to go on over to one of our sponsors who was here at our first forum last year, CCD Advertising, Mr. Chuck Aguilar. Thanks for being with us again, Chuck.
Thank you.
And Chuck, as you pass by us on 3875 Florida Boulevard, you'll see our event sign that we've turned this into an event building, and you'll see the sign, and that was done courtesy of CCD Advertising.
Yes.
So tell us what you would like the audience to know about what you offer, Chuck.
Well, we offer a variety of portable billboard advertisers, and these are portable custom-made wooden boxes that are available to be rented by people in business as well as candidates in campaign elections.
So let me ask you this. When you say a portable box, it's like a Lamar sign on a billboard, but you can bring this anywhere you want to bring it. Because a lot of people may be running, as you say, for office. We have a lot of that here in this Baton Rouge and up in where you're from, the New Roads area and all over. But you'll go Hammond, New Orleans, you'll go anywhere now if you're in audience, right?
That's right.
To take these, it doesn't matter where. You'll go in this, we're in 3 million homes and you'll go all over Louisiana to get these signs made for people.
That's correct. These can be...
but they have to have their own land because they've got to get permission to put this. How big is it?
It's a variety. The boxes range from possibly 2 foot by 6 foot diameter up to maybe 4 foot by 5 foot diameter, and would allow for a larger billboard ad. A typical billboard ad, maybe 6 foot by 12 foot, and which makes for a very nice ad for a business as well as someone running for office.
And what else? I know you do. We have a sign, and I don't have the portable sign. I have a stationary sign on my for my business. So you also make signs for businesses, correct?
Right. Correct. That's correct. We can do the typical yard signs also.
Yeah, we use some of those for the event. That's right.
We did those last year as well as this year.
Right. How long does it take? If I want a portable sign, how long will it take you to make that sign?
Possibly I would say 10 to 14 days from a lot of times my client may already have a pre-designed artwork. So typically 10 to 14 days from the conception until we can get the vinyl material ordered and actually get it put out on the property or at the location. Right.
So not too long. But now, usually campaign signs, do they have certain areas you put them in?
Yes,
they're running?
What works out real well with the campaigns is if the potential candidate would actually go out and secure the property get the different permits and permissions for
Oh,
the
you have to get a
property.
permit. Of course, if it's not your property, you have to get permission.
Yeah, and typically that could be handled through the client. For example, Dianne, if you want to run for
I don't want to run
city-
anything, so don't worry about it.
There you go. You want to, if you're,
I spoke at some
yeah,
university
yes.
MBA classes. I said, Miss
Yes.
Dianne, you're so good. Why don't you run for office? I said, no, thank you.
Yeah,
I do public service, but not in that
I
way.
understand. Yeah, so you basically the potential client will go out and it may be property that you own yourself. It may be family property.
Do I still have to get a permit if I own the property?
No. Basically, you would have to possibly check into, if you're in a city, sometimes in cities smaller than Baton Rouge, it may be more flexible, but if you're, say, in Baton Rouge, you may have to just look into different ordinances surrounding that particular piece of property.
Is there anything
That's
new
right.
that you've expanded this year from last year when we spoke, Chuck?
Well, not technically new, but we're just trying to push harder into the mobile billboard advertising. I actually got a nickname from, we call them MBAs.
MBA, so you're
there
getting
you
your mobile
There you go.
billboard. What's the A?
Mobile billboard advertising.
Advertising. Okay, so come on and see
That's right.
CCD signs at the bottom of our advertising at the bottom of our screen and get your MBA from
There
this
you go.
company. Come on
That's
back
right.
to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. Thank you
Yeah.
for being with us.
No
Chuck.
problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye-bye.
Okay.
Welcome back to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. We're doing the sponsors of this great leadership forum that ended up being a really, really great day. Again, I have someone that I appreciate that was with me the first year, Steve Baham from Baham Laboratories. Steve is an IT guy. He even builds computers, but also he's now doing some videography. And all the Facebook Live you've been seeing on us today has been filmed by Steve Baham. Steve, thank you for being here with us today again.
No problem.
My good friend Steve, and if you need an IT guy, this is your guy. So Steve, tell us about, in the summertime you said it's more concerned for security with LAN and local area networks and networking systems. Why?
Well, the concern that I have, and I've seen in watching businesses interacting with their technology during the summer, you see an uptick in viruses coming through, scams through email, even phone calls. Everybody gets the phone call scams. All of that stuff has a big uptick, and I think part of it has to do with the number of people who are using computers over the summer who haven't been all year.
Is it because children are out of school? A lot of them are out.
Well, you have children who are powering up computers and devices, their phones and tablets. You have teachers who may not have used their home computers and devices. Even people on vacation, maybe they're bringing something with them. Maybe they haven't turned on that laptop in 6 months, and now they're taking it with them on a vacation. And none of these devices have had any of the security updates that a lot of people who have been using their systems for the past several months have received automatically. Microsoft receives or sends out security updates almost every Tuesday, especially on Windows 10. Samsung and Apple release almost monthly updates for security on their phones and tablets. And for all these devices that are now powering up over the summer that several people haven't used, all those devices are out of date. And that opens the floodgates for anybody who is a hacker and or writing viruses to send to people. So now we have a security concern because those devices that are infected with something will then help infect other people who are out there.
You know, my undergrad is mathematics. I have BS, and I went when I got my BS with some pure math, and I went to work for IBM. in our spatial division over in Clear Lake City and Johnson Space Center, and back then, you know, I'm a similar language programmer. Nobody knows what that is now. I can read a dump, write 0 and 1s and bits and bytes down to the machine level. But everything is so high tech now, and I say that to say even a lot of the large companies don't keep the updates as they should. Remember a couple of years ago with some of the large companies, the movie Sony or something was hacked, and they found out what the woman was saying bad about black people and other people at Sony.
Sony was hacked. And this is an important lesson that you brought up. Anybody can get hacked.
Right.
And some people who may be watching this program may not realize that they are already hacked.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be educated on what to expect, what to look for, what is unusual, how can we protect our children, and how can we protect our businesses. There's a lot of information out there that we put for other people to see that maybe we shouldn't, and maybe is inviting people to hack our devices. And
is it true, Steve? I was told, and I just am very cautious, being an ex-program, an old program. When I see something sent to me in an email from a name I don't know, I don't open it.
Well, the bigger concern is that your friend could get hacked, and now you're getting an email from your friend. It's saying, open this email, open this document.
Right.
And it is, in fact, a virus that will then take over your computer. And now that virus could be watching you through your camera. It could be capturing your keystrokes.
And they could be watching me through the camera.
Yeah.
And that's happened. I've seen it to some young girls that their cameras were on and they didn't know it.
Right.
On Lifetime, some true stories on
Correct.
Lifetime.
Correct.
And they're walking around nude, they're in their room, and they've got men or women sometimes watching young adults.
Correct.
And they don't even know they're being watched.
So now you have...
How do you preclude that? Just don't open anything that you think looks suspicious?
Well, there's several things, and I do some classes on this, on how to educate people, how to be...
We're thinking about doing some classes here, as we talked about with the learning anchor that I'm going to
Correct.
start.
Yeah. How to do some classes on how to watch out for those type of things for both your business and yourself personally.
See, I have to laugh. This one is funny. I received an email from, quote, my girlfriend, and it had on there, I'm stuck in Turkey. I can't get out. Could you please send me money? I'm thinking, do they think I'm crazy?
Well, I've had...
And people have done it.
I've had customers who have asked me, is there any way to get my money back?
They really sent money.
They really sent money. I had a customer, he was getting phone calls just about his computer, saying his computer was hacked. Now his computer wasn't really hacked.
Yeah.
It was a scam phone call.
Why didn't he call you first?
Well,
Before
he
he
didn't
sent
know
the
me
money.
first.
Oh, he didn't know you
But
then. That's why he's got you now.
Afterwards, he had already spent $1,600 to some other country. It was unfortunate. But the important,
Very much so.
the important thing to take from that is, again, anybody can get hit.
Yeah.
Just a few months ago, the city of Atlanta was hit with what they call ransomware. Where
Yeah,
the
of course.
virus
There's no ransomware. Yeah.
The virus takes over your computer,
Yeah.
and the hackers hold the computers at ransom. That could happen to any company.
It's just like physically holding a person for kidnapping. They want ransom. That's why it's called ransomware.
Right.
And then they want ransom for releasing your
Right.
computer back to you.
Several $1,000s per computer
Yeah.
to release that information back.
Well, Steve, we're going to start shutting it down, but I think it's been very informative for our guests out there. And the Leadership Forum, how did you think it went this year?
It looks great. The crowd interacted very well. I think
Great guest.
I think that they really enjoyed being
part.
being a part of it and being able to ask questions
Yeah.
up close to
Yeah.
the mayor and some of your other guests.
Yeah, Pat Smith, the state rep, Denise Marcel. I wanted her to tell her journey on domestic violence, not just talk about politics. And Pat Smith has done so much in the community. It's just, and then I brought in Sheila White. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Courage Under Fire, I call her, and who went to the Supreme Court on racism and sexism and won. So we're going to close on out on Dianne Andrews in Black and White. So we'll see you back in a few moments on Dianne Andrews in Black and White. Come on back.
Oh my God. you Dianne Andrews?
Yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Donald. I love your show in black and white.
Oh, and you have my books. You have all three. Third Man Out by Fiction, Gumbo for the Heart. We're at 25 individuals. Oh my God, you have the latest one. I just put this out a month ago.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you enjoy them?
I do.
Oh, thank you
Can I
for being
please have
such
an
a big-
autograph?
Oh, sure. To Donald who?
Don Spears.
Okay, Donald.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did 5 shows. I broke that issue on the Silver Dollar Group of the Ku Klux Klan, and I tell people it wasn't about hatred, it was about love. Because a white lady, her father tried to kill David Watley. He integrated, desegregated, because nothing's really integrated. If you look at the true word of integration, right? He desegregated Faraday High School. I took him back there. He also lost a leg in the Vietnam War from Agent Orange. Nobody had ever talked about what this man did. I saw it at LSU, the cold cases. I went over there, and the Advocate did a story on her, Deborah Taylor, looking for the people that her father had killed. Part of the Silver Dollar Group, the most heinous group of the Klan. And I did 5 shows on that, 2 here. There was a book written on it, Devil's Walking, that the editor of Concordia Sentinel, it is a Pulitzer Prize nominated book that he wrote about the Devil's Walking. And this is not a black and white issue, but he happens to be a white man who had the fortitude to want to write that book, and he did.
It could also be this. Frank Morris had a run-in with a deputy here over a pair of cowboy boots. And this deputy, who was in the Silver Dollar Group, did not like anyone talking.
What was his name?
His name was Frank DeLauder.
Oh, okay.
And they had an argument over a pair of cowboy boots. And essentially what happened is Frank Morris had told Frank DeLauder that I'm not doing work for you for free anymore. DeLauder would just sort of order people to do whatever
Was he
he
a
wanted them to
sheriff
do.
or
He was a deputy.
Deputy sheriff, okay.
So one day he stood up to him and said, I'm not doing it anymore. So the belief is that DeLauder wanted his business burned out for sure,
Right.
as a lesson to the black community.
How dare you talk to me like
Don't talk
this?
to me like that.
I'm white and you're black.
That's right.
And you're going to do my shoes for me.
That's right.
And I don't know if you saw, but about a week ago, a current Klans member was found dead in his car in Missouri. And he was he was one of the knights, white
One of
knights
the
or
many
whatever they call them.
factions,
Yeah,
right.
one of the factions I read. It's only 8,000 Klansmen left. Only, but that's still too many. But back in the 1920s, it was over 4 million
million.
Klansmen in America. But now you have other names, skinheads and other names too that are still hate groups.
You will never ever, I don't believe, get rid of hate groups.
I don't either.
They'll always exist. We'll never see a Ku Klux Klan like we had in the 60s. Because I don't think communities will stand for it.
No.
Law enforcement agencies won't stand for it anymore. But we will always have these situations where violence pops up from these small, probably basically small groups of men. We'll never see these huge numbers again.
You know what I've seen, I agree with you definitely, Stanley, but what I have seen also, sometimes when I Google stuff, you'll see a lot of they have an organization called Daughters of the Klansmen. So you have women also who are invested in hate also. It's not just the men all the time. So there are some women who also have hate in their hearts too. Even doing these shows here, there were certain people we tried to get to come and they said just leave the past the past. And I don't know if they just don't want to hear it anymore, that it caused them so much grief, or maybe they still have some of these mores and norms in their minds also. You just never know. But we know we've come a long way. We've come a long way in Faraday as far as understanding people and, black, white, loving people, whether it's just as friends and visiting people and working together. When people have better understanding, they realize we're all the same. And he's the editor of the Concordia Sentinel. I did 2 shows with him here in my studios here in Baton Rouge. And then I went to Faraday. In fact, somebody told me, you sure it's safe to go over there? In fact, the mayor of Faraday was supposed to be here. She's 80% black, and she's a white lady, because this is all about black-white together. Because at the end of the day, between black and white, there are always shades of what? Gray. And that's what I say. At the end of my shows, I always say there are always shades of gray. But I was nominated for an award for that series. I'm doing right now a series that was just in our DA's office, Hillamore. last Monday doing a show on anti-violence. I did a show with the mayor and General Honoré together on anti-gun violence. I'm doing it around the state, and I went to Faraday and I interviewed 4 survivors of children who had been killed and young adults at the hands, and I have to say it, of black men. One killed his girlfriend, one guy, they don't know who killed him, but it was all by gun violence. So I'm doing a series on gun violence around the state. I did one with Chief Paul also in his office. 70802 and 70805 create 55% of all the crimes in the city of Baton Rouge. So we have to learn how to get gun violence now. And it's not only about passing laws. Do you really think the bad, in which there should be universal gun laws, but do you really think the bad people go to the store who got a record already and say, I want to get a gun? They're not getting a gun. There's straw purchases. It's as you know, right? It's not, as you know too, Pat. It's not, most gun violence, 80% is not by legal guns. So, but we do need to change the laws. I can go when the big murders in Las Vegas, most heinous murders, in our time, right? The gun shooting, the mass murder in Vegas a couple of years back. That guy in California has different laws. Nevada has some of the toughest in the country. But Illinois, which kills 7,000 black youth a year, okay? 7,000 are wounded and shot by each other in Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to ask this question because I've done 100 shows in 4.5 years while working full-time in a business, owning a business. But if I asked you, and you don't have to answer, but if I asked 3 people in here, how many do you, and I'm a black-on-black crime person because we need to fix that problem. I don't think anybody in here thinks that's not a problem, right, black-on-black crime? And white-on-whites kill more, black-on-black kill more, but we just happen to be a larger percentage. We're only 13% of the population, black people are in this country. Hispanics are more than we are now. They're 16%. And then you have other, and whites are 51% of the population in America. I'll just ask you, and you don't have to answer the question, but just think about it. How many black youth do you think a year are killed by police? Think it's more black, white, or white?
Black. It's more black. It's more black.
No,
it's more white. They ain't never on TV.
Remember, we're 50. That's right. And the media projects it's more white. It's more black. I did a show where I showed police killing a white boy. I did a show with that. We're killing a white young man. But we're 13% of the population. Y'all, 80% of us work and have good jobs, and we're not out committing crimes. But what did they proliferate? That it's us killing each other, and it's police killing us. And don't get me wrong, one murder is bad. One bad murder is bad. I did, on every black you know about, I did a murder on. Like in Cleveland when they killed that little boy, that white policeman killed the little boy in the park. You remember him? I did on Alton Sterling. I did 2 or 3 on that. In fact, I was on CBS News for that. I'm out in the community because of this very serious situation in Baton Rouge and around the country. Violence does not beget violence. Alton Sterling, a man who was here at Triple S convenience store owned by Abdullah Muflai, was shot down and killed by 2 Baton Rouge police officers. Now, I'm not saying who was right or wrong, but I'm just saying what happened in this situation. Because as of almost a week later, we still don't know what the police and what our Justice Department is going to do about this situation. But we do need to give them time to come up with what they think is an appropriate answer to this, and hopefully it is the answer that we in Baton Rouge and the country are looking for. Mr. Abdullah has been in this community for 6 years. And he is a Muslim. As you know, I do shows on ISIS. That's kind of my pet peeve. I've done the Nation of Islam, and I've done Shia and Sunni Muslims in my studio. But he has had no problems in this community for 6 years. Is that correct?
That's correct. I've been here for 6 years. They welcomed me into the neighborhood. They welcomed me and considered me a part of the community.
So every murder is bad, but how many are they showing us? And if you know, most black advocates now trying to get back to the community to stop the murders in the community. In 2016 and 2017, around 1,000 to 1,500 youth were killed by police. That's everybody. 1,000 were white. In California, more Hispanics are killed. Look up the statistics. In California, more Hispanics. Why? The population in California is 60%, in certain areas in California, 60 to 70% Hispanic. In Texas, in Houston, more Hispanics are killed. I did shows with the chief of police, all our chief of police have done shows, but I did the extensive research. Just look it up. They're not killing as many by police as they are by, it sure ain't 7,000 are killed by police, period. But 7,000 are wounded just in the state of Illinois a year, black youth. We have a major problem in this country on black crime. And that if we don't do something about that, police are not going to make it extinct. We're going to have to do a pretty good job of doing it ourselves.
Oh my God, are you Dianne Andrews?
Yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Donald. I I love your show in black and white.
Oh, and you have my books. You have all three. Larry Man Out by Fiction, Gumbo for the Heart. We have 25 individuals. Oh my God, you have the latest one. I just put this out a month ago.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you enjoy them?
I do.
Oh, thank you for
Can I
being
please have an autograph?
Oh, sure. To Donald who?
Don Spears.
Okay, Don.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming back again to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. You know, when you put something on, such as a leadership forum at this one with 20 speakers, extensive travel from people coming all the way from D.C., Houston, Dallas, Shreveport, New Orleans, it takes a lot to do that. And then having our own event center here, getting the event center together. I have two of my volunteers with me today, the two that did the most work. I want to thank Donald and I want to thank EJ for the work that they've done here. So what else would you like to live being a person out in the workforce?
Learning how to start a business, get insurance, learn the ropes that you can't really learn in school. They was able to come and tell us how did they get started, how they started out, and learn from them, take notes.
EJ, we're gonna wrap it up with you. So
well, definitely how to start a business, because I feel like I'm an entrepreneur, and it gave me a lot of valuable information.
Well, thank you all too. Thanks for all of them. They did a lot of work. I mean, we were in here mopping floors. I was mopping by hand. Whatever it takes to get it done. And that's the motto of a business person. It means busy person. Do whatever it takes to get it done.
The information Ms. Dianne had, I think every individual needs to be here, open-eared and ready, because it'll blow your socks off.
And it's not just for college students. I want people to understand that credit management, in fact, most is not about college. It's about people in midlife who have. My last husband, he had to have a lot of credit adjustments. So, so thank you for being here. Thank you for watching Dianne Andrews in Black and White. And next time we expect to see you here at Promoting Success Leadership Forums. Thank you very much. See you next week, Dianne Andrews.
Later.